Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. This series, I am once again joined by my wonderful co-host, that darn Kitty.
Dorkus and I are sharing our experience reading The Way of Kings for the first time. Each episode, we will summarize what we've read and discuss the experience along the way.
This is Storming the Archives, The Way of Kings, and today we discuss Chapter 34 and 35.
34 and 35!
That's right, folks. We got another short chapter, followed by, I looked at the page count, not the contents, another short chapter, so I thought we would do 35 as a blind read.
Woohoo! Let's do it!
Exactly. But first, the summary for 34. Chapter 34, Stormwall. Kaladin keeps playing the line, "Bridgemen aren't supposed to survive," in his mind while Syl asks him not to be hurt anymore. He opens his eyes to find himself hanging upside down, facing an oncoming high storm. Kaladin had been horribly beaten by the guards to the point of unconsciousness. Syl tells Cal that Lamaril has been executed while Gaz was left in his position. It was decided that Cal would be left alive as an example. Syl realizes she feels cold. She doesn't like it. Cal tries to comfort her. Syl thinks it's a lie, but Cal says sometimes it's okay to lie. Syl goes to the barrack and returns with Rock, Teft, and Moash. Teft tells Kaladin that the battle was a disaster. Over 200 bridgemen died. Kaladin believes all of the Light Eyes deserve the same fate as Lamaril. Rock speaks on behalf of the entire bridge crew. He promises they won't go back to how things used to be. They would remember Kaladin, and even if they die, they will teach the newcomers. Sadeas had said he understood how a bridgeman would want to save his own life, even at another's expense, then called Kaladin a coward. "I want you three to do something for me. I want you to go back into the barrack and tell the men to come out after the storm. Tell them to look up at me tied here. Tell them I'll open my eyes and look back at them, and they'll know I survived. Tell them that it won't end here. Tell them I chose not to take my own life, and so there's no way in damnation I'm going to give it up to Sadeas." Teft hands Kaladin a dun sphere. Teft lingers after Rock and Moash leave, then goes back to the barrack. Cal thinks he hears Teft call himself a coward. Syl asks what will happen if he does die. Kaladin talks about gambling. He's making a bet that if he does die, they'll shrug it off as bound to happen. But if he survives, they'll think it a miracle. He doesn't want to be a miracle, but he'd do it for them. Cal stares at the oncoming storm. So let's start with the... I have so much I want to say, but we have to start with the epigraph first, yeah?
Okay, yeah.
"I walked from Abba Mabar to Urathiru." This quote from the 8th parable of the Way of Kings seems to contradict Varala and Sinbian, who both claim the city was inaccessible by foot. Perhaps there was a way constructed, or perhaps Nohadon was being metaphorical.
Right. More notes, more studying, more research about this that city that was spoken about
Right.
in the sky, right? Yeah.
Yes, and I think, assuming this is Yasna's notes, the first time invoking the Way of Kings specifically?
Yeah. That was exciting when I read. I'm like, oh, we were talking about the Way of Kings. So at
Yeah,
least, but I want her to talk to Dalinar about this and tell us what she thinks.
agreed. And there's something very biblical, I think, about
Mhm.
a journey, walking,
Mhm.
in a way.
Mhm.
I don't know enough about the Bible personally.
Mhm.
Maybe there's something about Moses wandering in the desert or something.
No, there's also parables in the Bible. Jesus
Yeah.
told parables as well. So.
And then I also think, because I like Germ, one of
Mhm.
the Targaryens, I think it was Baelor the Blessed, walked from King's Landing, I think, fact check me on this, down to Dorne barefoot, and then he walked through a pit of snakes.
Oh, he did like a pilgrimage sort of vibe.
Yeah. Oh, pilgrimage. That's a great word. Maybe that's what
Mm-hmm.
is not biblical, but pilgrimage.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, religious journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go voyaging and whatever to find God.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, then. Shall we get into the chapter?
Yes, a lot of biblical stuff in this chapter too.
So much so. So I have to start with my prediction, I guess. No way Cal dies. I think it's going to
Duh.
eh, yeah, I think it's going to empower him. He's going to look
Yeah, he's
like
gonna get supercharged.
he's gonna get supercharged. It's the dun sphere that they gave him to
Mm.
hold on to light his way, and he's
Mhm.
gonna come out of that looking like a Super Saiyan, essentially, right?
Okay,
With the
I don't know if
glowing.
he's gonna glow. I don't know if he's gonna glow, but
Didn't didn't
I hope
Zeph
he does.
glow?
Yeah, Zeth does, but I don't know what it's gonna what we're gonna will it be that because that would be a huge reveal. Like, I don't know if I don't know if it must be visible to other people. You know what I'm saying? Like his survival is a miracle, and you can put it away. But if he's like Super Saiyan charged and things, then it's like it's a completely different story. It's like they take him down and they're like he's wow, and they fall at his feet and they or something. You know, like so it can go either way. But I'm just feeling like okay, he is gonna get supercharged. I agree with that. That's basically what I'm waiting for, and the book very much sets that up for us.
Yeah.
I think.
But you said that there was a lot of biblical stuff in the chapter as well,
Mhm.
not just in the epigraph. Was there anything specific you had in mind?
Well, he is the Christ figure. This guy,
Hmm.
Kaladin, is okay. Yeah, he's been beaten. Christ also got beaten up, but there's also
Strung up,
the he's strung up
crucified.
literally. Yeah. And he's supposed to go and face his death, right? And he's him surviving. Look, Jesus was like did die, and the whole thing of rising was what was supposed to happen. But we are still talking about a miracle here. Literally, they use the word miracle, and he goes, "I don't want to be a miracle, but I'll do it for them." That line there is like it's very self-sacrificial and things like that. And it really does invoke so much Christ imagery. It's like he's doing this for his people, and he's going through this to give them hope. Um,
Right.
yeah, and and he's got these kind of disciples that are there, and they're like, "We'll remember you, and we'll teach. We'll go forth and teach more. You know, we'll teach the other bridge crews, or
Right.
the new people." So there's that little microcosm there.
That's beautiful. Two things to say to that. I want to talk about Moash in just a sec, but since I mentioned
Mhm,
Zeth earlier, I have to say this
mhm.
first. I think Zeth also mentioned having healing
Yes.
abilities, so I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure Cal will be healed because they Sanderson really plays
Mhm.
that note a lot. He was beaten
Mm.
within an inch of his life. So for
Yeah,
him
he's
to come out of
swollen and
so
yes.
for him to come out of this healed adds to that.
Not just alive. Yeah,
Yeah.
not just alive. Yes, that's so true. The thing of he'll open his eyes. I was thinking, okay, cool. Like when I read that, because he says they must come out and see that he'll open his eyes and he'll have survived. He's still thinking that look, he'll just be alive enough to open his eyes.
Hmm.
And that's what he's hoping to do. I was thinking maybe he is thinking he'll try and die with his eyes open,
Right.
something like that, so that they can take meaning from it. Yeah, I agree. He actually might be healed completely. You're right.
Yeah.
From this. Or but the thing is or not completely. Maybe just because remember it was like it's fast healing, but
Right.
he's properly beaten up. So I think he would look better than he did before, which is more than just surviving the storm. Because otherwise they could say, oh well, he's just lucky. That people are going to think of this as a miracle.
Yes.
Mm.
Now, all of that said, I have a couple of quotes for us to talk about.
Hmm.
That man had gotten what he deserved, though. If Kaladin had the ability to choose, such would be the end of all Light Eyes, the king included.
Sheesh.
And that was in reference to Lamarel being killed. There is
Hmm.
a very dark Kaladin somewhere in there.
Hmm.
I mean, can you
Hmm.
blame him? Certainly.
No.
But this this is going to
It's the
be
yeah.
important later. It's going to be a problem that will bite him in some way, I think. It's either
He's
a
gonna have
going
to deal with it.
yeah, it's something he's going to have to confront and deal with, especially if he's confronted with Dalinar, who is the best of Light Eyes, presumably.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's just really, really noteworthy that that is much, I think, darker a thought than he's
It
had. We've known he's hated Light Eyes, but it has never been they all deserve to die.
yeah, I'm getting kill them all vibes. Like, I'm really getting that. So, it's yeah, it's a statement that he hasn't made as clearly before in his mind, in his POV. So, like, we knew that he hated them. Like,
Yeah.
all of them can just die. And I mean, you've just been beaten up and things like that, and you've just seen the the disaster that happens because you've been put in a position as a bridgeman. All of that. Why the hell not be filled with righteous indignation and want to kill everyone?
Speaking of righteous indignation,
Righteous fury, more like it. Yeah, yeah.
my next quote. He understood how a bridgeman would want to save his life, even at others' expense. He called you a selfish coward, but acted like that was all that could be expected. And I wrote, fuck Sadius. Fuck Sadius. You don't tell them shit. You don't tell them that they are. First off, it's their role to. First off, you send them to their deaths specifically
Why
to
should they give a
die.
shit? Yeah.
Why should they give a shit? You're not there to protect them. You're not there to help them. You are doing nothing for them. You are making their lives miserable. It would be one thing like if you told them, hey, we're gonna send you to your death. We'll treat you nicely until then. You'll have all the food, water, riches you can spend as whatever you like, but you're still dying a week from Tuesday. That would like be one thing. But they don't know what they're doing. We saw firsthand through Kaladin that they have no idea what their role is or what it is really.
Yeah.
It's been played throughout this whole book that that's the
They're not
mystery.
soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're not soldiers. They're just fodder. They're not part of the team. They're supposed to just be dispensable. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. You can just go. It's
Yep.
fine.
Whatever good feelings or hopes I had for Sadius from the Dalinar chapter, gone. Completely. Extinguished. And then I wrote, remember the Way of Kings quote about not demanding people do what you would do yourself. Like, you don't even
Yeah,
tell them their role is specifically to die, then call them a coward when they try to survive, which I pretty
yes.
much just
When
said.
yeah, you yourself would not do it. So, yeah.
Terrible.
Sadius, it would be cool for him to argue with Kaladin. Kaladin, like, is Super Saiyan, and just Kaladin punches him in the face, and then he's done. Fan fiction time.
Of course, I would love to see that. It is, God, I am very. I cannot wait to see what happens next. I want to see Kaladin survive this and then have that confrontation between him and Sadius.
I'm going to be very upset if we switch to Shalon or something. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Like, it may, or even Dalinar. Even if we go to Dalinar or something. If we go to Sadius and we continue and we discover Kaladin, that would be fine. I want the story to cover Kaladin in the next chapter, but don't tell me.
Very much me too. And a consequence of how slow we are reading, even with these blind blinds occasionally, I don't think we're going to get a Kaladin Sadius confrontation, or at least the one that I want so badly, anytime soon.
Yes.
I think we'll get it.
Yeah.
I just don't know when, and I think it'll be a while.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that we hope is going to happen takes a very long time for us to get there. I get it.
That's part of
It's still
Sanderson's style, though. 80%
Mhm.
setup and then 20%
Mhm.
Sanderlanche, right?
Mhm. Yeah, exactly.
Is there anything else to say on this specific chapter before the blind?
Syl feels cold.
Oh, yes, she's still evolving.
She's so cute as well. Just she's so cute in the way she kind of lets Kaladin just say, "Well, it's okay sometimes to lie."
Hmm.
Yeah. And what is she gonna be supercharged? Like, what is she gonna be with him? Like, how did she yeah, because all the Windsprain are in the storm. They're in the storm front there.
I predict she's going to be there and she's going to be doing everything she can, tiny little spren that she is, to like move the storm away from Kaladin. Like, you know what I
Mm.
mean? She'll be like doing magic wind things to try and direct the wind in both directions. I don't know how to articulate it. She'll be like a break.
Wind bending, air bending.
Yeah, basically. Airbending. As best she can.
Yeah, I hope we get it. Let's see. Shall we go into the next one? Oh, did you want to talk about any of the disciples? I suppose
Oh, yes, I
what they
did
said.
say
I
I
mean,
wanted to
yeah.
speak about Moash. The fact that
Mhm,
he went out, I
mhm,
think, is a good follow up to what I was saying about him never having like had an encouraging word. He's that punk kid who can be really talented and shine if he gets just that little bit of attention. I think Kaladin
mhm,
gave it to him, and I think he has earned Moash's deep, deep support, even though Moash is still kind of like, whatever. You
He's
know?
trying to be whatever, but he gives a damn. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to say about Moash. Thank you for reminding me. Okay.
Okay, let's ooh, a light by which to see. Yes, it's called a light by which to see, which is a reference to you need that
The sphere.
take a take a dun sphere into a storm or something, so you that or always have a dun so that you have a light by which to see. So that I think we might get our wish that we do get finally we do get Kaladin. Let's see. Yes. Oh, okay, we do. Let's go.
Though many wished Urithiru to be built in Alephala, it was obvious that it could not be. And so it was that we asked for it to be placed westward, in the place nearest to honor. Note that honor there is a capital H.
Mm. And we asked for it to be placed. What do you? Hmm. Like what? Were you there at its founding? Okay.
Right. So Urithiru was the kingdom. I'm trying to remember. Was it Nata Natan that Dalinar went back in time to? Which is where the
I think
Shattered
so.
Plains are. So it was not
Mhm.
Urithiru. Urithiru is where the Radiance uh,
The dwelt.
home
Yeah.
base is. Okay,
Mhm.
cool. Okay, just wanted to place that all visually in my mind as best I can. Perhaps the oldest surviving original source mentioning the city, requoted in the Vavabrar, line 1804. What I wouldn't give for a way to translate the Dawn Chant. Dawn
Oh
Chant.
god, there's so much stuff. The Dawn Chant. That's just he just throws all the mysteries.
Yeah.
What the hell is the Dawn Chant? Oh, but we need to figure it out. Ah.
I I feel like we've heard the phrase Dawn Shard before, correct?
Dawn something. Yeah.
And most important words a man can say. I'm not saying the Dawn chant is that,
Mm.
but we've got chanting, which is a form of talking.
We've got the what's the name? The Parshendi who chant
Oh
and sort of sing in
yes.
battle. Yeah.
Ooh.
So do they chant to, the dawn, or is that's something that they do in the morning? Or is it, and like
What
a one particular chant that is done?
what if the Parshendi are the Radiance, like descendants of the Radiance? Like they're not. What if like they're not crab people? Like that weird skin they grow is like shard plate, but diff. No, that's ridiculous. But it was a thought.
Yeah, let the thoughts come. We want to know. Consider
Yeah,
these things.
it
That's
popped
what he
into
wants
his
you to do.
true to wonder. But as I say it, I think unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
The force of the storm wall nearly knocked him unconscious, but the sudden chill of it shocked him lucid. For a moment, Kaladin couldn't feel anything but that coldness. He was pressed against the side of the barrack by the extended blast of water. Rocks and bits of branch crashed against the stone around him. He was already too numb to tell how many slashed or beat against his skin.
Ouch. Cold.
Ouch. This
Yeah, well,
is,
ouch, but he can't feel it.
yeah.
So it's
This
it's
is,
very cold. Okay.
yeah. This is probably a bad time to bring it up, but I've just realized for the last chapter we didn't talk about the fact that Lamarilla was killed. Just Kaladin's opinion on
Eh.
it, which I think Lamaril deserves to not be
Yeah,
talked
I
about.
really, I'm not crying. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm shame. No, not really. It's quite funny that he got killed,
but
even
Gaz
though,
didn't.
yeah, and also he beat Kaladin up so much that the Kaladin couldn't
Yep.
actually
Defend him,
help
which he
him.
probably would
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's satisfactory. I feel the same way as Kaladin when it
Yeah.
comes to that.
Okay. Sorry for that non sequitur.
Mm.
He bore it, dazed, eyes pressed shut and breath held. Then the storm wall passed, crashing onward. The next blast of wind came in from the side. The air was swirling and gusting from all directions now. The wind flung him sideways, his back scraping against the stone, and up into the air. The wind stabilized,
Wow, he's like a flag.
or a kite.
A kite, yeah.
Kaladin hung in darkness, and his feet yanked against the rope. In a panic, he realized that he was now flapping in the wind like a kite. Oh!
Like a kite.
Hey! Like a kite tied to the ring in the barracks' slanted roof.
Oh. Yeah, only the rope. Yeah. Yeah, if he gets loose, he's not flying like a kite. He's oh goodness. So this is not just the normal storm as we know.
Yeah,
This is not our kind of storm, earthly storm.
yeah. No, this is bad. It's dark. So a little ways back, I was trying really hard to make a visual of a high storm
Mm-hmm.
in After Effects to play in the background while these episodes air. I couldn't quite
Mm-hmm.
get it to a way that I was happy with, so it didn't materialize. But I imagined in it the high storms having different colored lightning. So I'm kind of
Mm-hmm.
hoping we might see some of that
We get a
through this
description.
darkness.
Yeah, but his eyes, yeah, his eyes are closed though. But we'll see.
Yeah. Only that rope kept him from being blown along with the other debris to be tumbled and tossed before the storm across the entirety of Roshar. For those few heartbeats, he could not think. He could only feel the panic and the cold, one boiling out of his chest, the other trying to freeze him from the skin inward. He screamed, clutching his single sphere as if it were a lifeline. The scream was a mistake, as it let that coldness course into his mouth like a spirit forcing its arm down his throat.
All of this could be like actually what it feels like when you magic. Okay, when you do the stuff. This could be, I
Yeah.
suppose, or the first time that you charge yourself up or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
This you get this sort of thing in Wheel of Time where it's the first time he channels, but he doesn't know it. So that's how I'm seeing this.
Cool. The wind was like a maelstrom, chaotic, moving in different directions. One buffet ripped at him, then passed, and he fell to the roof of the barrack with a thud.
Mm.
Almost immediately, the terrible winds tried to lift him again, pounding his skin with waves of icy water. Thunder crashed, the heartbeat of the beast that had swallowed him. Lightning split the
Mm.
darkness like white teeth in the night. The wind was so loud it nearly drowned out the thunder, howling and moaning.
Grab the roof, Kaladin.
So, is he no
Mhm.
longer connected to what he was tied to? Like, could he run inside the barrack if he were strong enough? Or is he still.
I don't.
He wouldn't
He's still
have to
he's
grab the
still
roof if he wasn't.
Yeah, but no, if he's connected, yeah, sure, he's connected, but he's still flapping around, right? If he
Yeah,
grabs the roof, he can have some stability, and he can have the roof at his back all the time,
cool. Yeah,
or
that makes
wherever he wants it
sense.
to be. There's more stability. Yeah.
Sure. Sill's voice, so soft, so small. How could he hear it at all? Numbly, he realized he was lying face down on the sloped roof. It wasn't so steeply peaked that he was immediately pitched off, and the wind was generally blowing him backward. He did as Sill said, grabbing the lip of the roof with cold, slick fingers. Then he lay face down, head tucked between his arms. He still had the sphere in his hand, pressed against the stone rooftop. His fingers, the stone
No.
rooftop, I feel like that has
Mhm.
something to do with Zeth and profane stone. That could be important.
Mhm. Mhm.
His fingers started to slip. The wind was blowing so hard, trying to push him to the west. If he let go, he'd end up dangling in the air again. His rope tether was not long enough for him to get to the other side of the shallow, peaked rooftop, where he'd be
Ha!
sheltered.
Hold on. Sorry, hold on. The epigraph had yeah, we had the epigraph said placed westward in the place nearest honor, and now he's going westward. What's it?
Ooh,
He's facing westward. Yeah, something's going
excellent.
westward. Yeah, the
Great,
wind was
great
blowing
catch.
so hard, trying to push him to the west. It's pushing him to the west. Yeah.
Good to know.
Woo.
And we know for a fact he is still connected by the rope.
Mhm.
Great.
Mhm.
Really great catch, Kitty.
Mhm.
A boulder hit the roof beside him. He couldn't hear its impact or see it in the tempest's darkness, but he could feel the building vibrate. The boulder rolled forward and crashed down to the ground. The entire storm didn't have such force, but occasional gusts could pick up and toss large objects, hurling them hundreds of feet. His fingers slipped further.
The ring.
Syl whispered. Whispered? Okay, so she's like right next to his ear, probably. Or
Mhm.
she is the wind, everything around.
Mhm.
The ring. The rope tied his legs to a steel ring on the side of the roof behind him. Kaladin let go, then snatched the ring as he was blown backward. He clutched to it. The rope continued down to his ankles, about the length of his body. He thought for a moment of untying the ropes, but he didn't dare let go of the ring. He clung there like a pennant
Mhm.
flapping in the wind, holding the ring in both hands, sphere cupped inside one of them and pressed against the steel.
So the sphere is still with him. Hmm?
Yep, and he's flapping.
It's not comfortable at all, but he's got a grip. Okay.
Yeah. I'm imagining I think of movies that take place on boats in the middle of storms,
Mhm.
and I feel it's
Mhm.
something not unlike that, yeah?
Yeah.
Each moment was a struggle. The wind yanked him left, then hurled him right. He couldn't know how long it lasted. Time had no meaning in this place of fury and tumult. His numbed, battered mind started to think he was in a nightmare, a terrible dream inside his head full of black, living winds, screams in the air, bright and white, the flash of lightning revealing a terrible, twisted world of chaos and terror. The very buildings seemed blown sideways, the entire world askew, warped by the storm's terrible power.
Yep. Loving this prose.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it's like to be in the heart of a storm. In a storm. This is it. It's how it does it. And yes, and I agree. Well, I agree. I like the idea of everything just feels like a nightmare because it's endless. This it's like it just keeps battering at him, and you kind of lose sense of everything but being battered. It yeah, I'm loving that idea that you don't even perceive. It's such suffering that you can't even perceive time.
Yeah, yeah. What he's writing, it all feels so big to me, if that
Mm,
makes sense.
mm, mm.
In those brief moments of light when he dared to look, he thought he saw Syl standing in front of him, her face to the wind, tiny hands forward. I called it sort of as if she were trying to hold back the storm and split the winds as a stone divided the waters of a swift stream. That is
Aw.
exactly what I thought.
I love Syl. I love her so much, and she's just there. She's standing there. She's still got. She's in her human form as
Yep.
well, standing tiny hands forward. Ah.
The cold of the rainwater numbed the scrapes and bruises, but it also numbed his fingers. He didn't feel them slipping. The next thing he knew, he was whipping in the air
Oh.
again, tossed to the side, being slammed down against the roof of the barrack. He hit hard. His vision flashed with sparkling lights that melded together and were followed by blackness. Not unconsciousness,
No.
blackness.
Okay.
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 By the way, how long do high storms last again? All night?
I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know.
Okay. Kaladin blinked. All was still. The storm was quiet, and everything was purely dark. I'm dead, he thought immediately. But why could he feel the wet stone roof beneath him? He shook his head, dripping rainwater down his face. There was no lightning, no wind, no rain. The silence was unnatural.
What is going on? Is he having some sort of vision, or is this what happens at the end of a storm?
Uh,
Is it the center of the storm? Is there something?
it's Luke when he goes into the cave, I think is what's happening. This is psychological.
Okay.
It's that thing.
Journey. Yeah.
You know.
That place. Okay.
Did you want to say something, though?
No, I'm ready.
He stumbled to his feet, managing to stand on the gently sloped roof. The stone was slick beneath his toes. He couldn't feel his wounds. The pain just wasn't there. He opened his...
Healed? Healed?
Healed?
Is he
I hope healed.
Healed or numb? Hmm.
Is he Super Saiyan now? Has it happened? He opened his mouth to call out into the darkness, but hesitated. That silence was not to be broken. The air itself seemed to weigh less, as did he. He almost felt as if he could float away. In that darkness, an enormous face appeared just in front of his.
Whoa. Whoa. This is crazy. Okay, he's going to have like some sort of vision. He's going to speak to the
Almighty, perhaps?
Almighty? Yeah. Look, I didn't expect this. I didn't say
Or a
anything about it.
Voidbringer?
Something. A face. Oh, yes. Okay.
A face of blackness, yet faintly traced in the dark. It was wide, the breadth of a massive thunderhead, and extended far to either side, yet it was somehow still visible to Kaladin. Inhuman, smiling. Oh, did you ever play Dark Souls?
Nope.
Oh, you should play Dark Souls. At Firelink Shrine, there's this giant, inhuman thing that comes out and talks to you, and it's like this black, not really a snake head, but kind of like it. It's neat. I'll show you a picture later.
Disturbing. And like, don't smile at me with your disturbing face.
Yeah. Kaladin felt a deep chill, a rolling prickle of ice, scurry down his spine and through his entire body. The sphere suddenly burst to life in his hand, flaring with a sapphire glow. Excellent. Good.
Okay, so the sphere
Light
is Super
your
Saiyan
way.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, light your way. There you go. That's what it's called. Yeah.
It illuminated the stone roof beneath him, making his fist blaze with blue fire. His shirt was in tatters, his skin lacerated. He looked down at himself, shocked, then looked up at the face. It was gone. There was only the darkness. Okay.
Oh, come on. We don't speak to the face?
I wonder if
Yeah.
that... So here's the question is, was that the Almighty unlocking something in Kaladin, or was that the Voidbringer and Kaladin fought back against it? And
Yeah.
that's... Yeah, and it was him going Super
Imagine.
Saiyan that banished it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it was a good thing. I don't know. I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing.
Right.
But the darkness kind of gives it away. Maybe it's good, but bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looked down at himself, shocked, then looked up at the face. It was gone. There was only the darkness. Lightning flashed and Kaladin's pains returned.
Oh,
No! He gasped, falling to his knees before the rain and the wind. He slipped down, face hitting the roof. What had that been? A vision? A delusion? His strength was fleeing him, his thoughts growing muddled again. The winds weren't as strong now, but the rain was still so cold. Lethargic, confused, nearly overwhelmed by his pain, he brought his hand up to the side and looked at the sphere. It was glowing, smeared with his blood, and glowing. He hurt so much, and his strength had faded. Closing his eyes, he felt himself enveloped by a second blackness, the blackness of unconsciousness. Okay.
No.
Was
So
he
is
like,
he?
was he
Hmm,
in the sphere when the sphere lit up, or he lit up when the sphere lit up?
I wonder. I don't know. He said he looked down at himself shocked,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know what else was shocking him there. And then he's unconscious. He's just
Yeah, I'm one.
yeah. But then he has the sphere that's glowing, and we know that you can get power from the sphere.
Right.
So I don't know if you can just be in the storm and get charged. You maybe the sphere you have to get from spheres, and then this little sphere, what he got from it, because it was charged. Okay, what he got from it kept him alive.
Yeah, very much so, I think.
Mm.
That makes me think maybe that thing was a Voidbringer, actually.
Yeah,
I wonder it I I genuinely wonder like if his mind had gone into the sphere in some way. Hmm.
but he had the sphere in his hand.
Look, we're dealing in metaphorical psychological mumbo jumbo.
It's
It's
possible. Yeah.
metaphorical.
Hmm.
I don't know. Rock was the first to the door when the high storm subsided. Teft followed more slowly, groaning to himself. His knees hurt. His knees always hurt near a storm. Ooh, it's a Teft POV.
Mm.
Neat. His grandfather had complained about that in his later years, and Teft had called him daft. Now he felt it too. Aw, poor Teft.
Aging is not for sissies.
Storm and damnation, he thought, warily stepping outside. It was still raining, of course. These were the after flurries of drizzles that trailed a high storm, the riddens. A few rain spren sat in puddles like blue candles, and a few wind spren danced in the storm winds. The rain was cold, and he splashed through puddles that soaked his sandaled feet, chilling them straight through the skin and muscle. He hated being wet, but then he hated a lot of things. For a while, life had been looking up. Not now. Oh, poor man.
He's like, okay, he is definitely not gonna looking forward to what he's gonna see here. Sorry about bumping the microphone. You know who is here.
Hi, Daisy.
Yes, it's Daisy. Really.
So he's a pessimist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I imagine this POV is perhaps close to what we might have gotten out of a club's POV if we were to get one.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad knees included.
How did everything go so wrong so quickly? He thought, holding his arms close, walking slowly, and watching his feet. Some soldiers had left their barracks and stood nearby wearing rain cloaks, watching. Ha! Cool. I like that.
They were also so they were also interested in what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Even if they aren't
Is that
in
what
the
you mean?
bridge crew, it's like
Mm-hmm.
they know them.
They
They
want to.
saw what happened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Probably to make certain nobody had snuck out to cut Kaladin down early. They didn't try to stop Rock, though. The storm had passed. Rock charged around the side of the building. Other bridgemen left the barracks behind as Teft followed Rock, storming Horn-Eater, like a big lumbering chull. That's funny. Again, sort of that angry, humorous angry, the grumpy. He's
Yeah.
grumpy.
Grumpy. Yes. Uncle Grumpy.
Yeah. He actually believed. He thought they'd find that foolish young bridge leader alive. Probably figured they'd discover him having a nice cup of tea, relaxing in the shade with the Stormfather himself. Yep. I mean, I half
More
expect
human.
that. Still, I mean, we know he passed out, so I expect they'll find him passed out but alive. But
Mhm.
I do kind of imagine him just like sitting there saying, "Hey guys, what's up?"
I wonder if he's going to be conscious at all at this point with that scene.
Yeah. And you don't believe? Taft asked himself, still looking down. If you don't, why are you following? But if you did believe, you'd look. You wouldn't stare at your feet. You'd look up and see. Could a man both believe and not believe at the same time? Yes.
That's hope. Yes.
And
That's
faith.
hope, it seems. Yeah, it's faith. Yeah.
And hope. Taft stopped beside Rock and, steeling himself, looked up at the wall of the barrack. There he saw what he'd expected and what he'd feared. The corpse looked like a hunk of slaughterhouse meat skinned and bled. No, this is what he expects to see. So it's what he sees. They're going to cut him
Yeah, he thinks
down.
of it as a corpse. Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to cut him down and they will feel a pulse and they will see him breathing,
Mhm.
but he'll be
Mhm.
unconscious is my
Yeah. That's my expectation as well. So he's calling it a corpse, but it's not.
yeah.
It's he's seeing it as a corpse. That's fine.
Yes. Was that a person? Kaladin's skin was sliced in 100 places, dribbles of blood mixing with rainwater running down the side of the building. The lad's body still hung by the ankles. His shirt had been ripped off. His bridgeman trousers were ragged. Ironically, his face was cleaner now than when they'd left him, washed by the storm. Teft had seen enough dead men on the battlefield to know what he was looking at.
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. I don't think so, but okay.
Poor lad, he thought, shaking his head as the rest of Bridge 4 gathered around him and Rock, quiet, horrified. You almost made me believe in you. Kaladin's eyes snapped open. Oh shit!
And
Okay.
that's all he had to do. All he had to do, technically, is open his eyes and then die. Actually,
Yes.
that's actually what he was. That's what he thought he could do. He thought, okay, I'll open my eyes and you'll know that I survived. That's it.
Maybe Kaladin was just being dramatic and he could have had them opened the whole time, but he was just waiting for them to
Mhm.
show up.
Well, I think he just wakes up. Come on.
Sure. Yes, no, I agree. The gathered bridgemen gasped, several cursing and falling to the ground, splashing in the pools of rainwater. Kaladin drew in a ragged breath, wheezing, eyes staring forward, intense and unseeing. He exhaled, blowing flecks of bloody spittle out over his lips. His hand, hanging below him, slipped open. Something dropped to the stones. The sphere Teft had given him. It splashed into a puddle and stopped there. It was done. No stormlight in it. Okay, so
Okay, so that's yeah.
it's more or less what we
That.
expected. He was like
Mhm.
using the light of the stormlight
Mhm.
to survive.
Mhm.
He was surge
Yeah.
binding.
Yeah, or whatever he was doing, but then you actually see, okay, that should I don't know what happens now, but that should shock them because a sphere out in a storm should totally, I don't know how what are the chances? It should absolutely not be done.
Yeah.
That's a very big thing to reveal that it's done.
Yes.
Hmm.
What in the name of Kalek? Teft thought, kneeling. You left a sphere out in the storm, and it gathered stormlight. Held in Kaladin's hand. Are you just going to move past the fact that his eyes opened?
No, but the thing that fell, I think it's just he in time, what happened is it fell to the floor and it's done. And that also, I think him moving past it means how shocking it should be to see a done sphere fall out of a hand
Yeah.
that's been in a storm.
Yeah. You left a sphere out in the storm, and it gathered stormlight. Held in Kaladin's hand, this one should have been fully infused. What had gone wrong? Umalakaiki, Rock bellowed, pointing. Kama mohure namavau. He stopped, realizing he was speaking the wrong language. Somebody be helping me get him down! Is still alive! We need ladder and knife! Hurry! The bridgemen scrambled. The soldiers approached, muttering, but they didn't stop the bridgemen. Sadius himself had declared that the Stormfather would choose Kaladin's fate. Everyone knew that meant death.
No.
They
It means
presumed.
if he survives, does it mean that if he survives, he's allowed to live? Like he's allowed to carry on? Or
That's what
like
I
he's been
thought.
judged? Yeah, it's like, when, wasn't it like if the rope broke or something, like you wouldn't, when you were being hanged or something like that, you were given a second chance, basically? I don't know, something like that.
The question is, does this mean that Kaladin will still be a bridgeman, a slave, or if he's a free man now? I know if he is free, he's still going to stay to protect the bridge
Mhm.
crew, but I
Yeah.
want to know if Sadius will still consider him a slave or not.
Probably still a slave. So what? You survived. You got good. You got lucky.
It's a little bit what I think, yeah, I think. Except, Teft stood up straight, holding the Dunsphere. An empty sphere after a storm, he thought, and a man who's still alive when he should be dead. Two impossibilities. Together they bespoke something that should be even more impossible. Yeah,
Okay, tell us. Tell us what that is. What do you mean? Together? What does it mean?
it means two impossible things are twice as impossible as impossible, I think, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But what I'm getting from
Or
this
did
is Taft is
no.
smart.
Mhm.
Where's the ladder? Taft found himself yelling. Curse you all! Hurry, hurry! We need to get him bandaged. Somebody go fetch that salve he always puts on wounds. He glanced back at Kaladin, then spoke much more softly. And you better survive, son, because I want some answers.
Mhm. Oh, has to leave us at that, eh? Good lord.
Oh, man. I mean, that's not
Mm.
what we didn't expect. We expected this. It was fun going through it,
Mhm.
but it is what I expected. So there's that.
Yeah, but it's not exactly what you expected, so there's that,
No.
you know? And it's still interesting because just of the way it was done, different POVs, things like that.
Very much so. I was glad for the Teft POV too.
Mhm. And but you see, the thing is, he says the two of them together is an even greater impossibility, suggested an even greater impossibility. Yes, what you said there, like two impossible things is more impossible, right? But I think he knows something about those two things. He knows that he knows of a third option, what this could mean. And that's why he wants answers from Kaladin. That's what I got from him saying that, is like there's another
Yeah.
possibility, and he needs to know that he needs to speak to Kaladin, and yeah, so he knows about the storm bind what's surge binders and things like that,
Yeah.
or
So
something.
I vaguely think I've heard Sanderson say Kaladin's a master apprentice arc without a master kind of a thing.
Mhm.
And it's noteworthy that Rock has had this knowledge that he kind of isn't really sharing with Kaladin, or maybe Kaladin's just not
Mhm.
that interested in hearing Rock's wisdom. But
Mhm.
I'm wondering if Taft here is going to be the one to inspire Kaladin to do some self study into this ability that he clearly has.
Yeah, he's the one that's going to actually tell him, "Okay, I don't know about yeah, the self-study." I think basically he's the only one that could tell him that this exists. There is this legend, there is this that thing that I've heard of, and it looks like you are one of them.
Yeah,
Maybe Rock has also has knowledge because he is so shocked. Yes, of course, it's a shocking situation. So he goes into another language, but you don't know what if he was saying go and fetch the ladder and whatever. I don't know if that first bellow was like, oh my gosh,
he's
it's a
alive.
no, or if it's oh my gosh, he's a magician basically. He's a surge binder, some other
Rock,
thing
you
like that.
mean?
He could also know some stuff. Yes, Rock. Yeah, he could know some stuff as well and be so shocked that he's even just goes straight to his home language, or it's just literally was saying hey saying in his language go get the ladder.
That's
So
what I think happened. I thought he was saying, like, he's alive, get a ladder, but in his language. And then
mhm,
he's like, no, wait, I have to speak Alethi. Go get him a
mhm.
ladder.
Yeah, maybe the second party was go get him a ladder. I don't know what that first bellow was. I don't know.
Gotcha.
But either way, there is something to. He needs answers. We also need answers, Teft.
I
So
agree.
I'm with you with that one. Yeah, great chapter.
Great chapter.
Thank goodness we continued with Kaladin because I was not going to be very happy about another
Agreed.
POV. Yeah.
Agreed.
Hmm.
Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Subscribe to that Dawn Kitty if you get a chance, because she's got a great channel. Join the Discord if you feel like it. We have a nice, small, but growing community over there, and I post memes and talk about other things that I'm reading. So, yeah.
Have a look.
Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time. Okay, thanks.
Good.
Bye.
Bye.